I'm delighted to welcome Dave Wall with us today from the National Biodiversity Data Centre, who's going to talk to us a little bit about a programme that they run, Explore Your Shore. Dave, would you like to tell us a little bit about the programme?
I would indeed, yes. Well, Explore Your Shore was set up in 2019 and it's funded by the Environmental Protection Agency. And really, it has a number of goals. One is to build a baseline data set for really coastal and especially intertidal species in Ireland. We do have some baseline data, but not enough. So we're really conscious that we need to build a bigger and stronger baseline data set for those marine species. The other goal, and where the EPA is particularly interested, I suppose, is looking at intertidal species as bioindicators of things like climate change and water quality, because they are, marine species are greatly impacted by those two factors. They're good candidates as bioindicators. And we also want to raise awareness in general of marine species and marine biodiversity. We have a long track record, especially in the National Biodiversity Data Centre, of collecting terrestrial species data. Yeah. And we've thousands and thousands of records of all sorts of plants and birds, but very few marine records. So we're trying to change that, build our active network of marine species recorders, and try and get people exploring their shore, exactly like it says on the tin. The project itself has introduced some new surveys. So we've got a range of surveys available. What we've tried to do is match surveys to maybe habitats or people's time, because people, busy lives, not everyone has an hour to give up on the seashore. So we've surveys such as Seashore Spotter, which is casual data recording. They take a picture of the animal, they submit the record, it comes into the data center as a new record. But we also have timed surveys, such as the Big Beach Biodiversity Survey and the Rocky Shore Safari, where people go out and they spend anywhere between half an hour and an hour exploring the shore, recording as many species as possible and submitting those. And that then gives us some effort-related data. But of course, we're not the first ones to record biodiversity in Ireland, and we're very conscious of that. There's been projects recording Irish marine biodiversity in Ireland for 20, 30 more years. So we have 9 partner projects, and they're up on the Explore Your Shore website as well, covering a whole range of species, from diving surveys for marine species to whales and dolphins to sharks and rays, a plethora of ways you can record marine biodiversity.
So there really is a whole range of ways that people can get involved with the program.
Yeah, I mean, one of our ideas in setting up Explore Your Shore was really to act as a shop front for marine biodiversity recording in Ireland, to show people how they can get involved, rather than any setting up as a kind of separate entity. So we brought in as many partner groups, and we're always looking for new partner groups. So if people are out there doing marine biodiversity citizen science, we'd like to hear from you and be able to flag you on our website, so people can get involved in whatever way suits them.
Brilliant. So let's just move on now, maybe, I suppose, for teachers who are watching. How can you bring this kind of work into a classroom? And maybe if you can consider, when you're answering, maybe a school that has access to the shoreline and is near it, and maybe a school that's further away, like, are they out of the loop, so to speak, or can they get involved as well?
Well, I mean, everyone can get involved. I suppose you know better than anyone that the seashore is actually a classroom. You can teach almost any subject on the seashore using the resources that are there. So there's almost too many ways to mention, but if you consider the citizen science aspect of it, the getting people involved in recording specifically, recording habitats and species, what we're doing is we're tying in, we're trying to understand and promote curiosity. I mean, the main word there is explore. So we want everyone, not just kids, but everyone, to get out there on the shore and explore and find out what's there. We're also encouraging people and promoting protection of the marine environment, and that ties in as well with a strong message in the science curriculum. We're getting people to act, and if schools participate, they'll be acting as part of society because it's citizen science. Yeah. You're acting as part of society to gather and generate new knowledge on our marine environment. So that's fantastic. That's buying into the citizen side of things as well. And of course, we generate data, that lovely D word, data. And fantastic thing about generating data is then you have data to play with. So you can tie in with any number of different aspects of the curriculum. The surveys themselves have simple survey protocols where you need almost no equipment. You just need a smartphone, which everyone has these days, or a digital camera, and go out and follow this simple protocol and collect the data in a standardized format. And that's an important lesson to learn. And when you get the data, then we have at the National Biodiversity Data Centre, we have our Citizen Science Portal. And the Citizen Science Portal, once you register on it, once you submit your first record, really, gives you access to a whole suite of tools to explore that data and all the other data on the biodiversity map system. So you can graph your data, you can generate maps to explore distributions. As part of the process of recording, you have to find out where you are and generate coordinates to describe your location. So it introduces you to that side of things, generating a latitude and longitude to describe where you are. You can analyze time series because using the Science Portal tools, you can analyze data. You can compare data from 20 years ago to data today, for example. Compare species distributions. And of course, all the data that comes in through the Citizen Science Portal on biodiversityireland.ie is open access. So anyone can access that data, download it, and use it in whatever way they want, really explore it. It's a great resource there. You can explore, you can use not just the Explore Your Shore data, but any of the open access data sets are there and available to download. And of course, it's not just science. You know, over the past 4 or 5 years, I've brought school groups out on shore and I've taught them history. So, for example, I give them the story of the importance of whelks and Tyrion Purple dye and how that generated world exploration, the Phoenicians leaving the Mediterranean in search of whelks and then exploring the world. Geography, of course, mapping and getting used to using coordinates, etc. Even home economics. You can go out and look at the value of these intertidal species as food. So there's a whole range of ways you can tie in with it. And we have worked with the Marine Institute Explorers Programme to create the Seashore Guide workbook. And we're also working now on some post-primary modules on citizen science specifically.
I was going to say, actually, I think there's huge links there with geography and biology. And I know ourselves that there's a huge interest within the secondary school area for more marine content and linking to Irish marine content. So that will be fantastic to see. I feel like I can't let you go without asking you the question or the story you just mentioned there about the whelk, because I don't know this story, and now I'm totally intrigued, Dave.
I ran a whole workshop, it was part of an art exhibition. I ran a whole workshop Tyrion Purple. At one time in history, Tyrion Purple was what the emperors and the kings used to dye their clothing, to dye their robes. The thing about Tyrion Purple is it's generated from an ink gland in the body of a whelk. Now, it can come from a whole range of whelk species. Most of it was the whelk species Murex group in the Mediterranean. But there's evidence that in Ireland, there's large middens of dog whelk. And dog whelk isn't a particularly nice thing to eat. So the only real explanation was that they were using dog whelk to extract Tyrion Purple dye. And the thing about Tyrion Purple dye, of course, was at one time it was worth 20 or more times the price of gold. So it was extremely valuable because you needed thousands, tens of thousands of whelks just to make 1 gram of Tyrion Purple dye. And of course, the story with the Phoenicians is that they'd used up all their all the resources, they'd fished them out of the Mediterranean. So they had to explore further afield to get their hands on more whelks to create more Tyrion Purple. And this encouraged them to leave the Mediterranean and explore the North African shore and on into Europe. So we could say that Tyrion Purple and the lowly whelk encourage world exploration.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Might be pushing the truth a bit, but I like it. It's a good story.
I love when you hear a new story. This is brilliant. Okay, I'm definitely going to share that one. And I think that might be a new story here at the aquarium. Dave, I think we've kind of covered, a good roundup there of Explore Your Shore and the reasons why a school might get involved, the importance, the ways it links to the curriculum, how it's open to all and all ages. Would you like to share with anyone like where to find more information? You know, maybe your favorite survey to do, and where they can look?
Yes, I mean, I suppose I just mentioned maybe before we round up to that, just, you know, why, a question I get asked a lot is why citizen science? I mean, why not just contract loads of people and pay them the cash to do all this stuff? And of course, that's one way you can do about it. But one of the attractions of citizen science is it is affordable. It's not free, because it's directly related to how much money you invest in it, but it is more affordable, let's say, than hiring a gazillion contractors to go and search the shores of Ireland. What you get with citizen science is many feet on the ground, covering a wide geographical area. That's also used quite a lot by research experiments or monitoring experiments, surveys that go on for extended periods, because most funding, as the world knows, runs on 2 or 3 year cycles. So if you want to get beyond that, citizen science is quite often used. It's important to also remember that citizen science is often seen as fluffy science, but in fact, we generate robust, validatable data. So each record is accompanied by a photo, each photo is reviewed by an expert, and each record is validated. So the data that comes out at the end of it is robust data that we can depend on. How people can take part then is quite simple. Everything you need to know about taking part in Explore Your Shore is on exploreyoursshore.ie. So that's our website. Come to the website, peruse the menu of surveys, and pick whatever you fancy. What's my personal favorite? I like the Rocky Shore Safari because I can, you know, I can't count the number of times I've gone on, I've looked at my watch, I've said, right, I have 2 hours here, I can go down the Rocky Shore, I can do a quick survey, and about 5 hours later, I'm still throwing around the place, turning over rocks, and half the day is gone.
Yeah.
I cannot tell my boss that. But it's absolutely highly addictive. And having worked in community engagement in the past, it's a no-brainer. All you have to do is point the kids in the direction of the shore and let them go. And 4 or 5 hours later, they will still be exploring and they'll still be discovering things. And it's just a fantastic way to get engaged with your shore. And through citizen science, collecting useful data as you go along. We're also on Facebook at Explore Your Shore. And of course, the Biodiversity Data Centre is on biodiversityireland.ie.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Dave, thank you so much for joining me today on behalf of the Irish Ocean Literacy Network. It's great to get information about Explore Your Shore, to be able to share it with wider communities and with teachers, and we hope lots of schools get involved and connect with you on social media and through the programme and the surveys and the website. It was a pleasure talking to you
Absolutely.
today.
I should say is one last thing before you go.
Okay.
If you record all your information as a school, if you record all your information under a single email address, then you will build your own data set. So as a school, you can explore, you can, over the years, build your own personalized data set that will show up under that single email address link. So it's a fantastic way of a school to build their resource. So try that as well.
That's a fantastic tip. Thank you so much, because I know there will be schools out there that will love that one, of having like a longer set of data that's just from their school. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dave. It was lovely talking to you today. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.